wanna run away. I think I'll go back to that place I stay. Play on the server the TimeShot way.
Hello people, it's Poet, and I'm back on TimeShot. One of the first episodes back with the old intro back finally, because I am back from Wyn's place, and of course a little bit sad about that. Well, a bit sad about that, I'll be honest, because I do consider that it's funny. It's really weird. But I've never really clicked with anybody quite as well as I do with Wyn. It's just this odd kind of feeling, you know? Like, it's hard to even describe. But I felt like that was my home while I was there. You know, that was as much a home to me as my home here is to me, you know? Even more so in some ways. Where's a crafting table? What? A wheat farm and no crafting table? What? So I'm actually here in the community garden built by Mara, and it's right off of Spawn. You can see Spawn's right here. Come down towards the haunted mansion, and there's this community garden right here, which is really cool. It's nice how it's set up. It's got different things like a very, very, very mini tree farm. You've got a cacti farm, wheat farm, potatoes, carrots, and on the other side, melons of kinds and cocoa. And what's in here? Fish? Charcoal? I guess this is where you go to craft stuff or something, I assume. Anyway, I was a little bit sad to leave, a lot of bit sad to leave, and you know, I will be going back soon. I just don't know when that is. But this is one of the hardest times that I've had to experience for a lot of reasons. So I wanted to talk about this. This is actually the second time I've recorded this, and there's a very, 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 very personal and close reason for me to re-record the episode. It's a lot sad. It's really sad. But I can get through it. You guys can get through it. We're going to get through it together. And I'll explain things. I'll explain why. Well, videos have been a little bit lackluster lately. And I don't just mean the content of them. I mean, for example, I'll go an entire day, and the only thing that I'll post that entire day is like a 5-minute Sky Wars episode or something. And I know that that's detrimental to the channel. I know that although people love watching Sky Wars, a 5-minute Sky Wars, and that being the only video of the day, is a little bit disappointing to people. So I do have a little bit of a reason for it, and I kind of wanted to just bring it out into the open. There's a lot of reasons for it, and I just wanted to discuss that today. And I'll explain why I then had to re-record this episode. Usually if I re-record an episode, it's because I didn't quite get the words out that I wanted to say. But this time, it's not that way. It's actually because the words have changed. And I'll explain what that means. But this is, by the way, this is from April. She just said hi. Hi. So where do I begin? Okay, well, I guess what I could do to begin is start on a good note. Let's start on a happy note, because this is a special day today in a little bit of a way. Well, it's a big way. I got a donation the other day. It's actually been several days now because, like I said, I had to re-record the episode, go back, tear the monument down in this room. So I actually put it up. I did the whole episode thanking the person, and now I've got to go and like do it again as if I hadn't done it before. So not only that, but I just haven't been able to get a lot of time to record this for all of the reasons that I will be explaining today. And So here it is. Here's the kind of a good note. You see it in my inventory. If you were quick enough, you saw it in my inventory. You know what it is. Is this right here. My friend James here, who has donated quite a bit already. He sent me a very personal message. I don't have it on my screen, unfortunately. So I will kind of paraphrase what I think it said. Was something like he had been going through a very rough time in his life. And he felt that him giving would help other people in their lives, and that would make him feel good. It makes me feel good. Should make everyone feel good. You know, if you have a hard time in your life, it does often feel good to go out of your way to make someone else feel good, you know? Or if you see someone else having a hard time in life, you know, don't go out of your way to make them feel uncomfortable or bad, or even if you usually joke around with them or say things candidly, maybe you want to tiptoe around it a little bit more, be a little bit more sensitive just for even a few days if you know that they're going through a hard time. So James, sorry to say that you had a hard time. He did say that he did get help for it, though, which is amazing. That's very good to hear. And thank you so much for the donation. He has donated in the past a few times, I believe, and now he's donated again. So here is the new total. Actually, let's do it this way, because that changes into that. Bam! Emerald block. It's, I think, the second one in this entire complex. Out of all these rooms and all the donors, only the second one to get to 200. James V. 200. Thank you so much for that donation. It is super appreciated. Getting yourself up to 200. It means a lot to me. Even if I don't keep any of the money for myself, it really, really, really does give me a little bit of a morale boost that people believe in me enough to donate to my cause and stuff like that. So that's very cool. Thank you so much. I choose charities to donate the money that you guys give me, and that's the end of that. The other thing is that I got an update from, this was Victoria B, it said before, wanted the sign to actually say Tory Girl 702. The donation was $10. Thank you so much for letting me know what you wanted on the sign. She left a note saying that she was just nervous about donating, was a little bit excited, and forgot to put any message saying what it should say. Eh? Did I just see water drip down? I really need to finish these middle parts. That'd fix that. Really, really need to get to work and finish this project. There's so many projects that I'm working on right now on the server. I'm about to show you guys one too that I've just been to let off some steam. I haven't been doing this on camera like at all, but just to let off some steam with everything that's going on. I've been digging. I'm going to show you this project that I'm working on. It's in addition to another project that you are going to see. I can say that now because here's what happened is I recorded this episode, and then I recorded another episode after, which you guys will see. And in that episode, I started working on yet another project. So there are so many projects that I'm working on right now that it's just crazy. But I'm really, really enjoying it. I'm enjoying working on these little projects much more than working on like the interior of the base. Not so much like the donor hall, I mean, but like the little outbuildings and stuff. And I think that if I were to do everything over again on TimeShot, like if we were to do a complete reset, I almost don't think that I would build a base like I have with the castle wall and the little buildings and things like that. I would probably do it a little bit more non-traditional and just have like different points of interest that people can look at, different caves and parkour to explore and things like that. I think would be a little bit cooler than what I got, and I'd enjoy building it a lot more. But since we aren't doing a reset, I will enjoy working on it and I will continue it. But that means that I have a lot of side projects. So here's one of them. I was over here at Tortimer's house. This is Tort's house. It's a really, really awesome little turtle shack. And I discovered this the other day. I'm sure he must have shown this on an episode or two already. But I haven't gotten to see it. I haven't been able to see his channel yet. You guys should check it out, Tortimer the Grey. And he has this little manhole here. Oops, broke grass. He has this manhole, and of course, what turtle doesn't have a manhole, right? So you go in, because you can manage to go down ladders, and it's a sewer system with his nether portal and a boat drop. Really, really cool. I think that this is pretty awesome. So you go down to the end, and it leads you fairly close to spawn. So he's got basically a little portal, a little manhole with his flag. If you go to the end of the tunnel, it takes you to spawn. Close to spawn. More near the haunted mansion, I'll be honest. But close enough. So I had the idea then, why don't I expand it a little? And, I mean, I'm kind of taking a liberty here that he won't mind. Or didn't have any other ideas about it. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. I'm not sure. But I'm taking the liberty of working on it just because, like I said, I've been blowing off steam. It gave me something to do, gave me something to get my mind off things. And I will show you guys what I've been working on while I now finally explain what's been going on. So, like I was explaining at the beginning, videos have been a little bit lackluster lately. And the reason is because I've had my mind on a lot of things recently. A lot more than probably I've ever had in my life. So it's challenging, but I'll get through it. I'll get through it with you guys, with people who like they support me. Oh, I'm getting choked up, not because I'm sad or anything, but because I just maybe I'm coming down with something. I hope not. I hope I'm healthy. But anyway, like the people who donate to $200, like that's amazing. That's amazing. And it really makes making these videos all that much easier, you know? So here's this little piece of cobblestone that I've got here. If you dig down, you know, you're underneath the base, but you keep digging. Keep digging, keep digging, keep digging. And here we are in my own section of the sewer system, Tort's Sewer. So I thought that it would be very, very awesome if we could expand that sewer system, because I really liked the idea of a sewer system. I thought that maybe I could help him expand it a little bit with a few ideas that I had just in my own section. I will say I'm not gonna change anything that he's already built. I'll let him do that. That's his thing. He can do that. But I wanted to build my own section of sewer. And I also wanted to, like, say we're, like, in the middle of this giant sewer section. All of a sudden it juts out in this direction, we'll say. And goes in this direction for a long ways. And then there's another direction, and, like, make it almost labyrinthian. With little things to explore down here. Would be so cool. Especially for world downloads and stuff. I really, really, really like that idea. Any little thing. I think Code is also like that. He's said in several episodes. Where if you have little things to explore, that's really, really, really nice. I really like that too. Where you guys get to go and discover little hidden secrets and coves and things. So what better place to do that than this giant sewer system, labyrinthian sewer system that you can get lost in and find different secrets in, and you know, I think that would be really cool. And of course, I do grab a little bit of inspiration from other games that I've played, even in the Iron and Coal server. Do you guys remember the Pokemon Iron and Coal server that I was playing on for a while? They had one gym, for example, where to get to the gym leader, to fight the Pokemon gym leader, you had to go through the sewer system in a labyrinthian maze, going the right steps, and finally, if you took all the right turns, then you could finally get to the gym, and it opened up into this big gym. And I think that things like that would be really cool to have underground. So That's kind of why I wanted to go and take the liberty of just starting to build. Maybe Tort has other ideas, and if he really protests it, obviously I'm not going to continue, but I'm going to at least build this tunnel. This tunnel may not do anything in the future if he protests it, but it helps me blow off steam. So there's a lot going on in my life right now. Obviously the sadness resultant from not being with Wyn anymore, it affected me a lot more than I thought it would. I think because of how long I was there, away from my home country. Because, you know, I spent a month with her and her family, and they became like my family, you know? It became my home. I would wake up in the morning and have my morning routine already ingrained in myself, and I got used to that. I got comfortable with that. And then having to kind of just, you're comfortable in something and then suddenly it ends. The end. It's really sad to have to do that. It's really upsetting. You know, you hear of people having like the post-con blues, you know, when they go to a convention and they meet up with friends and then they have to go home, and it's always sad. And how do you cope with that? Well, just imagine if the convention was a month long and then you suddenly had to go home. It's really tough. It's really hard. While I was there, I had the ability to record, thankfully. Wyn, of course, has all the same hardware and software and stuff that I generally use. But I often didn't want to, you know? It's as simple as that. You know, here I am, I'm in another country, I'm with her family, I'm with her, and I want to spend time with them. And so, of course, I'm not going to spend all of my time working like I normally would. And I spent time with the family, and it was a great time, and I had lots of fun, and I loved doing the activities, going to the zoo, going to the museum. I did actually meet up with Code, which was really cool, too. And I really had a fun time there. So leaving was tough, but I think doing videos was just as tough, you know? Now that I'm home, I can get back into the swing of things, but now that I'm home, I have to deal with kind of the drama that I left behind, and I gotta explain some of that to you guys. And I don't think that certain people involved will want me to name names and give details, so I'll be as generic as I can be, but they don't have a choice. I'm putting it out in the open. So basically what's happened within the last year or so is that my parents have now gotten separated. Now obviously this doesn't affect me like it would if I were younger, say if I was still in school or something like that, because it obviously means a completely different financial element. They don't need to worry about custody or anything like that because I'm my own man. I live on my own, and they don't need to worry about me, so they don't need to worry about supporting me. Neither of them are very financially sound, and they never have been. So it would obviously be much, much more trying if I were younger, but it still affects me that my parents are separating after, I don't know how long they've been together, about 30 years or so. I kind of found evidence in my digging a while back. See, my parents never got along. I've told this to you guys before, that they never got along. That it's a wonder that they lasted this long. They fight all the time, argue all the time. Never physically, but emotionally, definitely. All throughout my entire life. My entire life. Which meant that we never went on family vacations. We never celebrated things like anniversaries. Things like Christmas were always strained. Well, all holidays were strained because of it. And it was trying. My parents did the best they could, I think, to make us happy, to make sure that we were happy. But a lot of it, you could tell, was also just a facade. That they just wanted to appear normal when really they didn't feel normal. So finally, here it is. It's like 30 years later. They finally taken the step, and I think it's financially too. You know, they were together a lot of the time because they had to be, not because they wanted to be. So I was doing some digging one day. This is years ago, and I found this little manila envelope. You know, one of those little brown envelopes that you mail things in. And I found it. I was just, I was just cleaning up one day, and I opened it up, looked inside, and it happened to be my parents' marriage certificate, which I then found out was like, I think it was filled out the month or two before I was born. Like my mother would have been very, very pregnant when this marriage was done, when the marriage certificate was done. So, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to come to the conclusions I have. But then it raises the question, did they ever really love each other, or was the marriage just because of me? These are the questions that I don't think really need to be answered. It doesn't matter, but it kind of explains things for their perspective. So anyway, I've been dealing with that a lot because, of course, they are still at each other's throat despite them being separated. So I have to kind of play both sides. I'm trying to be as neutral as I can. It's not like I love one more than the other. It's not like one has wronged me and the other one hasn't. They've both been perfectly good parents to me, in my opinion. So I try to play both sides, and it's very trying because they both just want to, well, my mother more than my father definitely wants to rant about the situation. But they both have very, very severe problems, especially financially. And it's to the point now where I'm actually maybe having to even take over my mother's mortgage on her house, which would be a pretty humongous financial burden for me. I'm already paying a mortgage on my house here, and now I'm going to have to possibly pay her mortgage off. And then I'm also, because of Wyn and being in Michigan and loving it there so much, I would consider getting a property there too. So how much can I afford? I'm not that financially sound. It's not like I have a 9-to-5 job. So it is very trying. I don't let money stress me out, but if I was the type to let money stress me out, I would be very stressed. It's very fortunate that I don't let money stress me out. So that's not really a big deal, but it is a burden. No matter how you look at it, it's a burden. So that's been weighing on me a lot lately. Trying to balance things, figure out how I can fix my current house up, pay all my bills, pay for my trips, and so on and so forth. It's tough. It really is tough. But I'm not going to really worry about it. I know that I'll be okay. I'm not in a situation like I was years ago where I was so desperate I even went to you guys and was like, if you guys could help me pay my electric bill, that would be great, because they're about to turn the power off. It's not anything like that. I do have some money on hand, but like I said, it is a burden. So that's the main thing. It is still trying, even without the money involved. I don't want to see my parents get divorced or separated or anything. I think every kid dreams that their parents will have a very happy and wonderful relationship and be together forever, because you're comfortable that way. And you just have to kind of learn how to be uncomfortable, I guess, because if you don't learn how to be uncomfortable, then things like this will really, really start to affect you. So that's number one. Issue number one is that my parents are getting separated. That's basically as of a couple months ago, the whole thing really went full swing. They have their house for sale and everything. So that's something that I've been having to deal with while I've been in London, while I've been in Michigan. And it does affect me. It does take a lot of my time away, having to help my parents out. It doesn't let me do as many recordings as I would love to do, because I just have to be there for them, The other thing is so okay, that was actually issue number 2. So issue number 1 is that I'm no longer in Michigan, and while I was in Michigan, I didn't do recordings as much as I could. It's sad that I had to leave. Number 2 is that my parents are now getting separated or divorced, however you want to look at it. Legally separated, legally divorced, whatever. And that's a burden financially and emotionally for me. And issue number 3 is probably, to me, it's one of the saddest things. And this is why I had to re-record this whole episode. Because a lot of people have been asking me about my dog and how he's been doing. I've made a few tweets on Twitter about his health and how, you know, how he is. So basically, if you don't know, my dog had diabetes, was blind. He couldn't see in either of his eyes. He then had a thyroid problem, so he was losing all of his fur. He used to be a little fluffy black dog, little curly fluff dog, and he was losing all of his hair. He then had an ear infection. He had a kidney infection and a bacterial infection all at the same time. Needless to say, it's like his body was giving up, breaking down. And my initial video, this is why it's very sad for me. My initial video was explaining how he was coming home to me, how I had been away in Michigan, and he had been staying at my mom's house, and how he was finally coming home to me, and that I'd finally get to see him. Well, what happened was that he collapsed one day. He had apparently some kind of a sugar crash. He collapsed. He just walked outside, took a few steps, and then fell over and just laid there and couldn't move. Was non-responsive. My mom rushed him to the vet, and they fixed him up. They gave him an injection of just, I think, sugar water or something like that, and he was fine. He was better, and so that concern was gone. And so I think it was a couple days later, I was going to finally get to see him, and then he would be living with me. So that was the plan. My mom came over, and he wasn't the same dog. This isn't the same dog that I've known for the 8 years he's been on the planet. He was not himself. He was not happy. He didn't know who I was. I called to him many times. He didn't answer. He wouldn't even look. He wouldn't even move. If I put my hand near him, he didn't know who I was. But he didn't know who my mom was either. I put him down on the floor, and he just looked around like he was disoriented, which, of course, he's blind, so, I mean, it would be disorienting, but he was in a sad state. So I learned how to give him insulin injections, which is what a diabetic dog apparently needs. So gave him insulin injections, and, you know, it was... That in itself was tough to do. I didn't mind doing it, but I felt so bad for him to have to go through this. And basically, my original video, TimeShot episode, was basically saying that, well, I'm so excited that my dog's coming home, and that I'll finally get to see him. I've been scared for his health, but I get to see him, and I'm very excited. That quickly went to dismay when I finally got to see him. It completely and entirely broke my heart like I've never experienced. You know, this was a happy, fun, excited, loving dog who just became basically a vegetable. He didn't want to move. He didn't want to look at you. He didn't want to do anything. And he couldn't do anything. So after 4 hours of talking about it, maybe more, it was maybe 5 hours of talking about it with my mom. She was there with me. We decided that it was best to put him down and put him to sleep. So it's really it pains me to even remember all this, but It was very peaceful. He just went to sleep when we took him to the vets. We made the appointment that night, took him to the vet, and he was put to sleep. It's really, really tough on me because I don't know how many of you guys really know. I didn't talk about him all that much, but he brought a lot of joy to my life, especially in the times where I'm alone, big empty house. Being able to come home and have this really happy little puppy greet you and love you, it just makes everything in the world seem better. You know, when you've had a really trying day at work, people were pissing on you all day long, you come home and there's this little thing, this little bundle of fur who just loves you to pieces and shows it. He brought so much joy and happiness to my life and was just a completely necessary part of my life for so long, that it really, really, really is a struggle for me to kind of cope with him not being here. I was away from him for so long too that I feel a lot of regret that I couldn't have been there one last time, you know, to see him the way he was. But how can that ever be? You know, how can you ever know? If I did see him when he was relatively healthy, he was only blind in one eye, and he was still very happy and excited, and he was kind of himself, a little bit in pain, but you could see that he was himself. I did get to see him that time at least once, but you know, it's not like I knew that that would be the last time that I'd see him that way. So it was a little bit upsetting to see him not himself, and to put him down, it was even worse. It was one of the worst things that I've ever had to do. It's not the first pet that I've lost, not the first dog that I've lost. And I've had dogs pass away very close to me in the past. I know that it will be something that I overcome, though it is very sad right now. But it has definitely impacted my emotional state recently, especially since I'm already saddened by the fact that I can't be with Wyn and her family. And I'm also emotionally wrecked because my parents are separating, and then my dog dies. It's almost like a bad country music song, you know? But I am getting through it. It is a trying time, but it is something that I'm coping with, you know? It's silly how these little animals, you buy them, and you know that you'll be attached, but you just don't even know how attached you'll be. You know, considering him to be a part of the family is an understatement. He was a part of my family. He was like a little brother to me, a little child to me. He was a part of my family, someone that I could take care of and depend on to make me feel happy. And he's no longer with me. So that is one of the reasons, one of the biggest reasons. All of those three reasons are reasons why videos in general have not been exactly where they should be lately. And I don't really know when it's going to get better. I hope soon. I hope that me taking this first step and talking to you guys about it will be that first step to getting back into the swing of things. I know for a fact I've snapped at people recently a lot because of it too, which I also feel really bad about. And if you're one of those people watching and I've recently snapped at you in some way or said something that you were kind of shocked about or think that I might regret, I do regret it, and I apologize. But it's just that I'm going through a pretty trying time. Maybe it's easier for some people, but it's not easy for me. And so, I mean, I've snapped at people on servers. I was on Hypixel the other day, and some guy was doing something that really annoyed me, and it just, I don't know why, it rubbed me the wrong way, and I kept snapping at him, and, you know, it's not who I want to be. It's not how I want to be. And so, yeah, I apologize. It's just kind of crappy that it affects me this way. I feel like I should be stronger than that. Oops, 9. Oh well, whatever. Just cook up that iron. Finally. I feel like I should be able to be stronger than that. I've been stronger than that in the past, but it is obviously affecting me more than I know. I think yesterday or the day before, I spent probably a good 6 or 7 hours just playing Sky Wars on Hypixel. Which, you know, people might say, oh, well, you're just having fun. But it's my way of coping in a weird way. Like, it's something to get my mind off things. Some people go to cigarettes. Some people drink. Some people, you know, I don't know what else people do to cope. My getaway is to pour my time into a video game. And I know that's not healthy. I know that's not what I want to do. But I spent like 7 hours playing Sky Wars the other day. And then yesterday I probably spent another 3 or 4 hours playing it again. And here we're talking like, I used to go to bed at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock and wake up really early. And I was really enjoying that. Yesterday I was up till I think maybe 3 in the morning. And it was just because I can't go to sleep. I can't sleep. I can't get my mind off things. I just have to keep playing. I just have to do something to get my mind off stuff. So it's tough. It really is tough. But hopefully that all explains what's going on. Again, I apologize if it doesn't seem like I'm myself, especially in some of the videos that you've seen recently. But chin up, right? I'm strong. I know I'm strong. I know that I have the ability to strive when it comes to discomfort. So that is what I will do. And I think that ability to overcome is what separates someone who has depression and someone who doesn't. I am very thankful that I don't have any kind of a clinical depression, because I know I will get over it, whereas someone with depression probably would have a much more trying time. And so my heart goes out to people out there who are going through these same kind of trying times and who are having much more trouble coping with it, or who just won't be able to cope with it. My heart cries for them. But anyway, as you can tell by me just looking around, walking around aimlessly, I'm coming to the end of the video. There is another video coming out after this, not today, but another TimeShot episode that was recorded before this. And again, I hope that my attitude in that didn't seem dampered in any way. But it was a good episode. I think you'll enjoy it. It's about building something. I'm not going to spoil anything. But working on yet another project separate from that giant sewer system and separate from the Oink headquarters. It's separate yet again. So enjoy that. Thank you guys for helping me get through this by even just being here to watch this video and listen. Thank you very, very, very much to anybody out there who wants to donate. Feel free to do that. The link is in the description of TimeShot videos only. And with that, I think that's all I really wanted to talk about and get off my chest. I think you'll all see why I had to re-record this. I couldn't very well release an episode of TimeShot where I was talking excitedly about how my dog would come home to me, when in reality he had already passed away. So I just had to do it for myself. So on that note, it's a sad note, but you know what? Think positively. We will overcome these obstacles together. We will get through it. Things will get better. We will adapt. We will become comfortable with the uncomfortable. And until next time, we'll be seeing you on TimeShot. Bye-bye.